In the inbox late night, glowing screens see the light. Do-do-do, email, everything feels alright.
I'm making the switch. I'm going to stop using Gmail app for my personal email use, and I'm switching to Apple Mail. Why am I going to make the switch from my personal email to start using Apple? Well, okay, what was Gmail doing that I loved so much? Dark mode. These are short, simple emails, but you can see there is stuff floating in the darkness. That's the stuff that I cannot stand. Here are some rules for making things not float in the darkness you need to have. We're going to talk about this thing some of you may or may not be aware of if you're not using the Gmail app, called annotations. And that is, what is the Gmail app doing? Hey entrepreneurs, executives, and spammers. Thanks for tuning in to part 2 of our mega episode, Fry Company, a classic American brand, and App Wars, Apple Mail versus Gmail. I needed a brand to compare these two mail apps in, and what better brand than Fry? Please make sure you go back and listen to the previous episode where we discuss Fry and compare it to a couple of other great brands, and then watch today's episode where we use these brands to help understand how the Gmail app and the Apple Mail app present you to your audience and help you decide which mail app is right for you. That was the focus on what Fry is doing, and they're doing some great stuff. It's a great brand. I can't recommend any more that all of you right now go and subscribe to their emails so you can just get a great idea of how you should be representing your brand. But while I was doing that feature, I gotta say it. I'm going to stop using Gmail app for my personal email use, and I'm switching to Apple Mail. It's a big thing for me. I mean, you've probably, if you've been listening to the pod for a while, you've probably heard me say that I'm a Gmail app user. For a long time, it was doing stuff that I really respected and was really excited by, and I just wasn't. So I was just like, I have Apple Mail on my phone so I can go look at some stuff. But we've reached the point where I'm making the switch, right? You know, it's like the Pepsi challenge, right? I'm like trying Pepsi. I'm making the switch. And we'll break down here why. And it's going to be instructive so you can understand the kinds of differences people are experiencing in their inbox, because you want to think about those differences as you craft your email template strategy. This is way under the hood stuff and important for everyone here to consider. Let's start with some stats. Apple Mail and Gmail app are the top dogs. We see currently 50% of email app users or opens are Apple, and 28, almost 30% are Gmail. And after that, it falls quick. The next is Outlook at 8%. And what do we see down here? QQ Mail, I had to look that up. QQ Mail at 1%. It's actually a Chinese app. And Pilot House Email and Customer Retention Team is the best customer retention team in the Roman character set. I say in the Roman character set because I don't really have any idea how email is used, kind of in China. But it is popular, and they've got a big app. So this is some small amount of opens that Litmus was able to capture, because probably people, from China were traveling in the US at the time or something like that. How do they know this? They know it by the open because the app has a little thing that says, this email is being opened by Apple Mail. This email is being opened by Gmail. It's just something that all of the app providers do. There has been, I'd say, a little bit of a decline. This goes back to 2021. So let's just kind of think this is all like basically pandemic we're looking at here, right? There actually has been a decline in people using Apple Mail, which I find surprising based on what I'm about to go through and my decision to make the switch and stop using Gmail and start using Apple Mail. And that's kind of matched by strength in the Gmail app. I'm confused, right? Based on what I'm about to show you. So additionally, this is a view of apps. So there's more than apps. I mean, apps are on your phone. What else is there? Well, mobile opens are 2/3 of opens, and then webmail. And we don't know if webmail is mobile or desktop. It could be mobile, it could be tablet, could be desktop. It's just webmail. Now, you are able to know this by the way, I used to do this all the time. I'd use GA3 back in the day, Google Analytics 3. I'm sure you can still do it in 4 to look at the pixel width. And then with the pixel width, you pull out a spreadsheet and you've got the pixel width for all your stuff. And then you just do a VLOOKUP or whatever, or a pivot table. The width matches a mobile platform or a desktop platform. So you can tell for all your webmail stuff, oh yeah, this is what portion of it is mobile, this is what portion of it is desktop. Super nerdy stuff. If you've got a big email program, that can be important. I used to optimize my stuff I wanted to sell like a $600 suit with an email. And so I would really look at, okay, how I'm presenting my products specifically on that mobile. And I wanted to have a really good clear look. So I would use aspect ratio to be like, oh, this is how old I am. Oh, this one's an iPhone 6. Anyway, 60+%, 2/3 are mobile, 10% are known desktop. So hardly any opens are desktop. And then there's webmail, and a large number of webmail opens are desktop. If you're using Gmail on your laptop, that's a webmail open. But point being, most opens are these apps we're looking at. And what are we seeing here? Slightly over a quarter are Gmail, and we know 90% of people who are on an iPhone have selected dark mode. And I don't use, I use an iPhone. I'm sure this is similar on other platforms. So point being, this Gmail here that we're seeing, this is mostly dark mode, which we're going to look at. And we're not only looking at dark mode here, but we're going to look at some stuff, including dark mode, and just understand that, look, it's a significant minority of your opens are people seeing it on mobile Gmail dark mode, which is the most difficult major platform or major combination to make your emails look good on. And that's why I always have Gmail and dark mode on my phone. So I'm experiencing the most difficult hurdle to get across. And we just showed you some examples, very simple examples where it's like, well, that looks kind of like not great. All right. First of all, just a simple one. Let's just compare on Fry, product abandoned on Apple Mail and Gmail. And so the Gmail one we can see here, dark mode. These are short, simple emails, but you can see there is stuff floating in the darkness. That's the stuff that I cannot stand. Is why is stuff just floating in the darkness? So here are some rules for making things not float in the darkness. You need to have full bleed images. So no padding, right? The image is what's the use of all that padding anyway? Wow. If someone's on mobile, you want them seeing things as big as possible because a mobile device is small. So I don't even know why that padding is there. It doesn't make any sense to me. Full bleed is stunning. If you go back earlier in the pod and you look at Levi's, they were doing full bleed and it looked great. It just looked spectacular, right? Like, come on, forget dark mode, just full bleed images all the time, right? Also, what they're doing right here is this transparent CTA so that you don't have the CTA floating in the darkness. It looks really ugly. A bit of commentary on the message itself. We just discussed these guys were founded in 1863 in Marlborough, Massachusetts. It is the oldest continually running footwear brand in the United States, and they don't talk about anything. This is an abandoned cart, and it's just like, hey, you missed this product. Whoa. After someone is on your site and clicks on a product, that is so much intent. That is like 100x intent, I would say, approximately. Let's just say 2 orders of magnitude more intent than like someone who's just on your list and kind of not opening and just whatever, right? They're good for an Apple privacy open once in a while. It's like 100x intent. So that's when you want to tell your brand story. I'd say, kind of cart checkout, you want to focus maybe on things like free shipping or returns, all the last things that people are thinking about before they make the purchase. And then site and browse, you want to focus on why we're the most amazing brand. Hey, how did they even get there? You spent money getting them there, probably. I mean, even if it wasn't ads, you spent money building your site and getting your site SEO'd, all that effort. Don't assume that they know that you are the oldest continuously running footwear brand in America. Don't assume that. Tell them. So, Fry Company, hey, there's an opportunity here. there's an opportunity for you all to really tell your story in conversion funnel support. That's site browse cart checkout category. If you do category abandonment, and speaking to people based on how far they got into your funnel and telling your story, talking about fabric quality or material quality, all that kind of stuff, right? You know, cow leather, whatever's going on, right? You should be talking about that here. Okay. Apple Mail versus Gmail. First of all, this is just some stills. Let's talk about App Wars. Why am I going to make the switch from my personal email to start using Apple? Well, okay, what was Gmail doing that I loved so much? I liked folders, your promotions folder, your inbox, you know what I mean? Your tabs. They're called tabs. We actually go back and check out our excellent discussion with Alex from the CEO of Glock Apps, where we, and understand tabs and their importance for inboxing. So when someone's in tabs, when your messages are going to tabs, technically it will cost you some open rate and click rate. But from my opinion, those are good overall for email, for the email industry, for email marketing. I liked them because I do go to my tabs and I just say, hey, when I'm feeling shoppy, right, I go to my shopping tab and it's like, oh, perfect. It's all shopping stuff, right? And then all the things that I'm, God forbid I miss an important email from the Canada Revenue Agency, right? So, that my main tab is for, all the business and important stuff in my life. All my shopping goes to the promotions tab. I like it, right? It's the right setup. So that was one of the things I really liked about Gmail. And you can, as of December last year, that you have tabs with Apple Mail. So that advantage is no longer there. And then what else is going on here? Look at Gmail here. What a mess, right? I've got this sponsored DD card, tarjeta de crédito en liens, cards for credit, for line of credit. Wherever I am in the world, Gmail has figured it out and they're sending me ads in whatever language, for where I am in the world. Big, ugly, 6% cash back. Look, what is that? Now, look, I actually subscribe to Gmail. I subscribe to YouTube because I don't like the ads. I've worked in marketing. I see ads all day. And then I come home and I sit down and I just don't want to see any ads, right? But interestingly, I pay Gmail money and this is still happening. Why? Because it's not the email address associated with the account that has the pay thing. And like many people, I've got more than one email address. So bottom line, I still get the ads. They're still showing me ads, even though I pay them money. They should just do every effort with that to remove the ads from my life, right? So that big, ugly ad is sponsored. But then let's look at the right. And we're going to talk about this thing that some of you may or may not be aware of if you're not using the Gmail app, called annotations. It's a weird name. It's called annotations. And that is, you look at this Columbia Sportswear, you've actually got the hero shot, right? Which is kind of a lifestyle. I'm climbing on the mountain. And then you've got two product shots and you can actually see the little colors there. So they hard code, just like Tom's doing, they hard code into the image. Oh, I can see there's different colors available. I can't show you here, maybe in one of the next videos, but you can kind of scroll. So you can actually scroll through the products right, left in the email. And what happens when you click on a product, rather than opening the email and going to the email, you click right through the product page, right? And when this first came out, I was excited. I was like, hey, this is going to be super cool. But you know what? It's actually just super ugly. Like, look at the Apple Mail inbox on the left. Super clean. So what am I trying to do when I'm in my inbox? I'm trying to assess, do I want to interact with this message or not? Right? So first of all, Gmail is forcing me to interact with the message. They're just pumping it in my face. We're going to go through some of the limitations and weird stuff in a second. But bottom line, these two different modes, like inbox is like, seriously, skip, delete, open. Oh, I like this. I'm not going to delete it. right? I mean, what do we do? What do we do when we enter our inbox? The first thing we do is try to find any reason to not interact with a message, right? And so this is actually just making that mode more difficult. And the thing is, sometimes random images from the email get selected, right? I mean, maybe this thing is going to end up amazing in future, but at the moment, I would say it's not amazing. It's still kind of clunky. So I get an inbox that's full of ugly pictures sometimes, and I mean, you know what? It's just not making my email experience better, and it's just and while not making it better, it's just taking up more room in my inbox. And we're going to see this in the next slide. We're going to see kind of some of what happens. I mean, look at this on this anthropology one. It didn't even select any products. It just selected the hero shot, right? Okay. Now this next slide, man, this one really drives it home why I'm making the switch. Mail app wars, Apple versus Google, make the switch, right? So on the Gmail one, we're going to scroll down and look at this. There's actually gaps. Look at those weird gaps. What are those gaps? Annotations is failing. Like the app's not working, and I've just got this ugly, weird gap where there should be something and there's not, right? Like, what the heck? Right? Just look at this inbox, and we go back to the last one. There's all that Columbia and anthropology just picking a hero shot randomly and putting that in my thing. And here now we can see these weird gaps and just ads that they're dumping on me, even though I'm paying them for no ads. And on the left, look at this one. It's super clean. Oh, I clicked through and there I'm on Fry, right? Super clean. And I didn't include this video because it would have been a massive animated GIF. But what it also does is on Apple Mail, I mean, any Apple Mail users out there, hey, I'm one of you now, right? Accept me in your group. Yeah, when I click and it moves right onto Fry, I then scroll up and I just scroll through all the Fry messages. And Gmail, look, if Gmail did that, it wasn't making it obvious. And obviously the whole purpose of these apps is to be as user-friendly as possible. So post-open, it's helping me navigate through all of my emails from that brand within the promotions folder. And that actually made it way easier to make this podcast, right? I was able to bring this great content to you with relatively more ease because I was using the Apple Mail client, right? And if you look at this podcast episode, you will get, I put a ton of effort. I don't do so many of these image-based ones because look how much effort I have to put in. It's a lot. So although I do it because I love you, podcast fans. But it's a bunch of effort. So any way I can find to make it easier, and Apple Mail made it easier, made my life easier. Hey, great reason to be on Apple Mail. So it looks clean. It helps you navigate better. And then there's also this, which I found kind of interesting. That's on the next one. Although this is interesting too. Apple Mail actually beat Gmail on search. I mean, as I was doing this episode and just running through and working on Fry, I was just like, what the heck? So when I put in Fry family, so I was looking for the welcome to the Fry family. I was searching for that message and I didn't even spell it right. I said Fry family. And without even clicking enter, just typing it in, it found the email I was looking for, right? And then, I was able to just very easily find the message. Gmail, I actually spelled it right. I did Fry family and it didn't automatically find it. I had to click the enter button, right, to find it. And then it found the message. No suggestions, no way to help me, right? It just, point being like, look, this is not a huge hindrance, but just to drive it home. Google is like a search company. They're actually more than search. I think search is like maybe only half their business now. They're doing taxis. Yeah, you know what? They're doing like weird self-driving taxis and stuff like that, right? So are they really focused on their core business? From what I see here, this is not a strong, Apple is beating them in search inside of the Apple app. And that's what Google does. It's their classic thing. So not a whole lot of respect from me on that. And then, I had some Toms, right? Because I was comparing doing Tom's for a bit of comparison, Levi's for a bit of comparison. And I noticed this. Look at how big they're making the brand. So we talked about Fry and what Fry was doing. And I'm telling you, it's not a coincidence that they did that massive logo. Yeah, Apple gets it. They get it. They understand you. And look at the size. They make this huge Tom's logo above the email so people realize, so brands can drive brand awareness and brand perception. So, or in this case, maintain brand awareness, because obviously they were probably brand aware if they discovered you in the first place, reinforcing that brand. So yeah, I just appreciate what Apple Mail is doing here. And for Tom's, it's still just a little T, right? So also, just for a quick moment, look at the different audience that Fry is speaking to versus the audience that Tom is speaking to. Tom's is speaking, this is kind of like look at on the very far right there, it's kind of a little, artsy, let's just say, right? And Fry's doing like the guy and the girl in the back of the pickup truck in front of the lake with their big boots. So Tom's is a great brand. They're huge. Nothing bad to say about Tom's, but I personally resonate more with kind of those Fry messages. But you can really see, and just seeing how stark the difference is in how in their marketing materials, and how obviously they're going to have, it's obvious to me, they've got a very different customer. It's obvious to me that the Fry customer is not also buying a couple pairs of Tom's, right? And that's just, for any of you entrepreneurs, executives, and spammers out there, thinking about your next photo shoot and the creation of your next assets. Obviously, if you haven't got a brand manager, think about that stuff, right? That stuff's important. We discussed psychology with Abby 2 episodes ago, or maybe 3 episodes ago. So can't recommend any more that you go and look at what Abby and I were discussing for email and the digital ecosystem. Look at this. What Gmail? What are you doing? What is the Gmail app seriously doing, right? I mean, I literally can't even. Okay? What Fry has done, and this happens all the time. This doesn't look badly on Fry in any way. It looks like somebody just accidentally left the terms and conditions for a sale at the bottom of this email that doesn't have a sale, right? And I've confirmed this for myself. You can see on the left, I scroll through and there's up to 50% off. Look at the email on the left. We're in the Gmail app, and there's nothing in this email that says 50% off. And then look in the middle. I went to the landing page. There's nothing 50% off on that landing page. This is not a 50% off email. Now, I did go through a ton of their emails, and I know they had an offer, and the T's and C's just ended up there. And you know what? It might not even be an accident. Somebody might have said, hey, as long as this promotion is running, we want to have the T's and C's for that promotion at the bottom of the message. By consumer regulations, that would not be necessary. You would not need to have those terms and conditions if you did not call out the promotion. Although this is not legal advice, of course, please consult your own lawyer for all consumer laws, of course. But it's not necessary. So if someone said, hey, let's put it there, let's leave it there because the sale's on, okay, fine. More likely, during that period of time when that sale was on, they took the template and just kind of, duplicated the template and made a small, is this a mistake even? Like, if the sale's on, that's not really a mistake. Right? Is it wrong? No, it's not wrong. There's a sale on. It's not even a mistake. It's just, there's some terms and conditions at the bottom of an email. Okay, well, what's happening? Gmail is putting this huge Fry company, 50% off, visit the site at the top of the email. Like, that's my experience. First of all, if there's a 50% off sale, any good marketer is going to put 50% off over the hero shot. That's standard. Offer is hero. So that's not adding any value to my life, and I'm not showing it here, but actually it takes away this becomes the the pre-header text. So they're actually taking away something I was using to understand what was in the message while I was deciding, hey, do I want to interact with this message? They take that away. And you know what? Probably the subject line was going to say 50%. So they're right. They're taking away things that I was using and adding in this massive, ugly thing that is certainly in the subject line and certainly on the hero shot. And they're just saying, visit the site, right? And how are they doing it? They're reading it off of the terms and conditions. They're just basically searching through the message, looking for any text they can find that there's an offer. But that's what the asset is for. The asset is to tell you that there's an offer. So why are they taking up all that real estate, adding ugliness to my inbox? That is seriously ugly. It's ugly. It decreases functionality. It adds no value. And when I was going through doing this for Fry, which is, you know what? Fry is not ugly. They add massive functionality to my life. So why do I want this ugly thing getting in the way of my Fry? I don't. I don't want it getting in the way of my Fry. What's Gmail doing? Who's the guy on Gmail's team that thought this was a good idea, right? And if anybody goes and if anybody here listens to the All In podcast, somebody, I think Chamath or whoever was just digging into Gmail where they've got small, like low-level product managers making these weird decisions and everything is just because, and their thing was about Gemini and how they're not bringing Gemini to the fore, and so they're having Gemini just appear in weird little spots. It's just a weird product strategy. Yeah, same thing here. They've got some product manager who's like, hey, this will be neat. Oh, maybe this will blah, 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 blah. And it's just, the whole thing's a mess. I think this is the last slide. So I think we can close this off and say the Gmail app, as far as I can see right now, is a mess. The Apple app now has all the functionality I wanted and then some, and it's just a better experience. I'm making the switch. I still have the Gmail app in dark mode because I want to understand what our clients see. So I'll still have it there really close, and I will use it a lot to make sure that whatever, maybe 20% of your users are seeing your messages. And if you're not paying attention to it, almost certainly your messages will be really ugly unless they're just pure full design. You're going to have ugly messages if you don't look. For a fifth of your audience, if you don't look at mobile Gmail dark mode. So keep it there. But for your own enjoyment, as far as I can see, it's now the Apple app. Oh, well, we do have one more. Oh yeah, how could I forget about this? All this clipping. So look, why does the clipping happen? Very clear. Gmail is the largest inbox provider. All my clients I look at, 60% of the addresses they send to, 60% plus, are Gmail, right? So Gmail has to send a lot of messages. And the way it works is if there's an image in a message, that image has to be sent to a CDN, a content delivery network. Let's say you're in California and you're sending a message to someone in Ohio. For that message to load fast, like in fractions of a second, milliseconds, it has to be also on a server in Ohio. That's just how the internet works, right? So Gmail doesn't want to have to transfer every single image in a message to some content delivery network, right? They just, what they want to do, let's make this simpler. They want the message to be as short and tight as possible because they're doing all the heavy lifting. Apple, I'll tell you right now, iCloud.com, which is their sender, very small, not a big part of their business, right? And so they're not doing the heavy lifting, right? When they tell Gmail, hey, load the whole message right now, and Gmail loads the whole message right now, Gmail's doing all the work, Apple's not doing all the work, right? So this is a bit of an arbitrage against Gmail to use the Apple app because nothing's going to clip. And why is Gmail clipping? Because they're doing the heavy lifting. So what they're doing is, since they're doing all that heavy lifting, they're saying, well, we're going to decrease your experience on our app. We're doing all the heavy lifting, and so we're going to decrease your experience. And Apple's like, well, you know what? We're not going to decrease your experience because we're not doing heavy lifting. It's an arbitrage to use the Apple app. You get a better experience. And, we spend so much of our time figuring out how to make templates that don't clip for Gmail. And I understand why they're doing this, right? I get it. But look at how early it clipped on this message. And you know what? This 25% thing, I forgot to mention this. This weird thing at the top of the message, as far as I can tell, makes a message clip sooner. Because it's obviously a bunch of code. It takes away the pre-header, so it's probably, I'm now speculating, it's a bunch of code, complex code in the pre-header that causes the message to clip sooner further down the message. Look at this message on the right and look at the message on the left. What do you want to have in your inbox? Look at the message on the right. It clips, and then when you click view the whole message, it's like this weird little column. It's actually formatted with a completely different set of logic because it's formatted for their webmail format, right? Rather than their app format. So you're getting two different experiences. One is mobile, one is kind of more desktop-ish, I guess. Desktop with a smaller aspect ratio. The one on the left is it's just seamless, right? No weird crap at the top. Sometimes a nice logo. No weird 25% garbage. No clipping, right? No nasty dark mode. I feel like Gmail has lost their way, and Apple has not. And we have to respect, of course, what Gmail's doing. They are doing all the heavy lifting, so they do have to be efficient in some places, and that's why clipping happens. But that doesn't explain all the other stuff. Okay, entrepreneurs, executives, and spammers. That's this mega episode. Fry, classic American brand. App Wars. Apple Mail versus Gmail app. I hope you found this really beneficial, and it helps you in crafting your email channel. There's so much going on in email. Email is this really it's a legacy protocol. It's got 4.5 billion active users, so it's huge. It's open source, right? Every single instance of email is different. It's an exciting marketing channel too, right? I love this because there's just so much going on. Everything isn't done for you on all the other channels. Hey, we'll manage your bids for you. That's right. You really got to get in, and get your hands dirty to get email working. And hopefully this helps you do some of that. And we're going to go back to our vacation here in historic Jalapa, Mexico, and have fun spamming.
In the inbox late night, glowing screen, see the light. Email, everything feels alright.
Hey entrepreneurs and spammers, remember, you can't scale without email, and the cheapest customer to acquire is the customer you already have. So please subscribe to the world's best email and retention podcast and learn how to make low-cost revenue a big part of your digital ecosystem.